Hey everyone, Josh Larson here with the Rage Real Estate team, and I want to take just a few minutes and take a step back from the craziness of the real estate market and all of the headlines that you've been reading and just talk about what's actually going on and why this means that we're actually in a really good place in the Denver real estate market. Undoubtedly, you have heard that things have slowed down and the real estate market has shifted, but what exactly does that mean for buyers and sellers? First of all, I think it's important to look at what has happened. So leading up to 2020, we were in a very predictable real estate cycle where the seasonality of the market was paramount. Every spring we would see that prices would increase dramatically, they would start to taper off as we headed into the summer, and things would slow down as we headed into fall, only to repeat that same cycle the next year and the next year after that. Something that was really helping that happen was interest rates being really low. And then all of a sudden, the global pandemic hit. And what that did, the effect that that had on the market is sort of like a slingshot where it just kind of pulled things back. Things slowed down a little bit. We couldn't show houses for a little while. And then it released and the market just shot up into the stratosphere. We saw houses going for $100,000 more than their list price. We saw 20 offers on properties, and it was very challenging for buyers. But it was also really great for sellers. For about 2 years, it was really great for sellers. And then this year, the Fed stepped in and said, we have got to regulate things because this is not sustainable. And they were right. That sort of activity was not sustainable for our market and would have eventually led to a crash if nothing was done. The Fed increased interest rates this year in the most dramatic swing in interest rates we have ever seen. Interest rates went from 2.5% to 6%, and even though it wasn't overnight, it felt like overnight. And all of a sudden, buyers who had been out looking at homes in a certain price range could no longer afford that price range because of the interest rates. And so what we saw is instead of 20 showings on your opening weekend, listings started receiving 2 showings in their first week on the market. And instead of getting 20 offers in 4 days, it was taking about 20 days just to get 1 offer. So things changed quite a bit. And so I want to just talk about 3 major ways in which that's a good thing for our market. First of all, the first thing to keep in mind is real estate is going to be fine. The real estate market is going to be fine. If you own a home, your home's not going to lose all of its value. You're not going to go into foreclosure more than likely. There's nothing to worry about. Things are going to be okay. This is actually really necessary, this shift, and healthy for a market. A stable market like this that's slower and takes more time is actually a good market and is something that both buyers and sellers can enjoy. I know that sellers enjoyed the process of getting $100,000 over their list price, but they also hated the process of being a buyer in that same market. Once they sold their home and all that excitement was over, they had to go be a buyer. And being a buyer in this recent market was challenging. Now it's going to be a lot more manageable, and you can take your time and find the home that you like. And you can also reasonably expect to get your list price when you go to put your home on the market. So this is a stable market. That's first. Secondly, if you were to zoom out and look at the last 30 years, you would see a steady increase in home values. But when you zoom in, you'll see that it's actually a lot like climbing a 14er. If you've ever done that here in Colorado, you know it's not all really, really steep climbing. It's steep climbing, but it's also broken up by some plateaus that you're walking along. Even sometimes there's some downhill. And if you've ever climbed the 14er, you know that that downhill stretch is usually really welcome because you're able to catch your breath and recalibrate and then go attack the next climb. If it was all really steep, intense climbing, you'd need ropes and entirely different gear. You'd be on free solo territory. And that's not what people are expecting when they do a 14er. And the real estate market is really similar, actually. When you zoom in, it's full of climbs and then some adjustments in price, and then climbs again and adjustments in price. But at the end of the day, it is a climb, and it's going to continue going up until people just stop buying houses, but we don't see that happening anytime in the near future. And then third, real estate is always an active, dynamic market. It is always shifting, it is always changing. People are always looking for homes. whether that's due to graduating from college and getting into your first career, or getting a big promotion and getting into your next career and wanting to move into a larger home, or starting a family. The list goes on and on and on. You've got death, you've got divorce, you've got all of these things that impact your need to buy or sell real estate. And it's always going on. Even in the midst of a global pandemic, people were still buying and selling real estate. So, don't allow the headlines to cause you to panic. If you're trying to buy a house, don't allow them to stop you from buying a house. It's a good idea and it's a reliable investment strategy. And if you're planning to sell a house, the sky is not falling. This is still a great market to sell a home in. There are still plenty of buyers out there looking to buy. We can help you do either one or both if you're looking to sell and buy. So let's get together and talk through it. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching this video. We're here if you've got any questions.